In 1933, the Nazi Party takes power in Germany and Adolf Hitler becomes Prime Minister. In March 1933, the first regular concentration camp was established by the National Socialist government. In 1938, on Kristallnacht, the Nazis killed about 100 Jewish people and subjected thousands more to violence and torture. In the end, 267 synagogues and community buildings were destroyed. Tens of thousands of Jewish homes and shops were broken into, and around 30,000 Jewish men were arrested and sent to concentration camps. With those recent events, the British government decided to offer sanctuary to an unspecified number of Jewish children under the age of 17. The children were allowed to leave on temporary travel documents, but with the idea they would rejoin their parents when the crisis was over. Once the children were selected and allowed to leave, they only had a few days to pack their bags and give their farewells to their parents. The first transport left on December 1st, 1938. The first transport of 200 Jewish children arrived in Harwich from Berlin on December 2nd, 1938. Another 200 children arrived from Vienna on December 12th. From that point on, there were at least 2 transports every week. The last kindertransport left on September 1st, 1939. This was 2 days before Great Britain entered into the war, which marked the end of the program. By that time, approximately 10,000 Jewish children had made the trip. Children of the kindertransport were dispersed to many parts of the British Isles. About half lived with foster families, the others lived in hostels, group homes, and farms in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The children who had prearranged sponsors waiting for them were sent to England. The many unsponsored children waited in Devonport, a summer holiday camp, and other transit camps until individual families came forward to take 1 or 2 children into their homes, or to be placed into group homes. Life was not easy for children of the kindertransport. All were deeply affected. These children had the trauma of leaving their parents, country, and language behind them. They had to adjust to new situations, which was bewildering for all and terrifying for some. Their lives went unchanged forever. There were not enough foster homes for them, and many lived for months in unheated summer vacation camps. A few were exploited, many were troubled. Children 14 years old or older who did not go into boarding schools were often absorbed into Britain's labor force, either in agricultural or domestic services. Others, as soon as they reached 18 years of age, joined the Allied armed forces and played their part in defeating the Nazis. Fortunate to have survived the Holocaust, they still endured suffering at the hands of the Nazis. Not only did they lose their parents, they also lost their relatives, friends, familiarity, and culture. Sadly, most of the children on the kindertransports were never reunited with their parents. 1/4 of the children eventually immigrated to Canada or the United States, while others went to Israel or became British citizens and lived the rest of their lives in the country that rescued them from the perils of war. The kindertransport relates to social justice because there was no social justice for the Jewish community, especially for the children. They were not treated equally, or did they have the same opportunities as everyone else like them should have had. These children were forced to leave their relatives and friends, familiarity, and culture behind for the hope they would survive and have the chance to be able to experience life. This was because a group of people did not like their faith, and felt the need to create a perfect society by eliminating the Jewish